Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer, so let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello and shalom and shalom and shalom and... Thank you. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, welcome to Kill Me Now. My name's Judy Gold. I'm the host of this podcast. We have another person who's on every week. I forgot his name. Anyway, Hennessy. Did I spit? I'm sorry.
I saw it come, but it's all right.
Oh, that voice is so hot. Hennessy is here. Hi,
Hello.
Hennessy.
Hey.
How's your day going?
Good. Is my voice hot?
No, but
Okay.
this whole thing now. This is how you're talking now.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Get the
Don't you
fuck
think?
out.
Don't you think he's talking like this now?
No, I'm not.
A little bit.
It's a little.
I'm talking like
It's
sounds like Batman.
It's a little, hey, dude. Hey, yo. Hey.
Batman.
I got
Yeah.
called. I just want you to know, Hennessy's not being called Miss or anything anymore. Like no one. Today, I'm walking down the
Judy
subway.
enjoys confusing all of her.
No. Today, I get called sir 24 hours a day.
Okay.
I'm walking down the subway steps. I have gym clothes on. I have no hairy like I look like I have my hair out.
You're clearly a woman.
And there's a school that like a classroom. We went on a fucking field trip coming up the stairs, and I hear one of the teachers say, "Oh, let the man move. Make room for the man." I'm not a man.
Yeah.
And if I was, I'd be making money off this fucking podcast. Fuck that shit.
Fuck that
Fuck
shit.
straight white men.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
say.
Speaking of which,
Please.
Yes.
Fuck 'em.
our guest today, first of all, I don't know what it is. He is the fucking greatest guy. He's so cute. He's so smart. He's so fucking funny. I have a little crush, but it's like a mother-son crush. You know what I mean? Like I just
Right.
want to take care of you. I want to cook for you.
Yeah, I watch
Do it.
those.
And ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Christy Stefano.
Hi.
Christy Stefano is here.
I'm here.
And he is not a queer, no, yeah.
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
A, thank you for
Thank-
doing. I love you.
Toads preach.
He's so funny and he's the cutest. All right, so Chris,
Okay.
She's trying to make me jealous. VP.
did you listen? I gave Hennessy an assignment to listen to Howard Stern.
I did.
And Robin.
I did, and I
and
took notes.
You did not.
Yes, I did.
I said you will see how Robin moves the conversation forward. Never brings up another topic.
Actually, that is completely wrong, but Howard always supports her in everything she says.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you clips. I
Okay.
have notes. I have
Okay.
timestamps.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
going to support you.
I've got
I'm going to
video.
say this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that thing that straight women in therapy do. Okay, I hear what you're saying.
Don't woman-splain me.
No, that's what I'm going to do to you. I definitely
No.
hear what you're saying.
I hear what you're
and
saying.
that's a great point, Hennessy. That's
wow.
what I'm going to say. That's a great point, Hennessy.
That feels weird.
I know. See, doesn't work. Anyway, Chris, I love you. You're so cute.
I love you guys.
Chris. I love your life. I mean, you grew up Queens, Brooklyn border.
yeah, right there. Ridgewood, Bushwick.
Where Ray Romano grew up.
Yeah, like right there. We went to the same high school. Ray
Really?
Romano. Mm-hmm.
I started with Ray Romano.
Really?
Yeah, I remember when he was delivering futons.
Yeah.
I remember at Comedy U Grand at 55 Grand Street in Soho. That's where we all worked in the 80s. His wife Anna would come in the back and be like, "Why is he doing this? He's never going to make any money." Oh my God! I mean, how can he? And
Yeah.
cut to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So great area to grow up in.
Yeah, real funny people there. Very like New York, old school New York
Right.
area.
And you were a good student.
I was a pretty good student. High school, I wasn't the best student. I
Right.
started to get good and pay attention in college and then graduate school.
Right.
I paid high school. I
Yeah,
was
you
still
heard
like,
graduate school, ladies and gentlemen. You heard graduate school.
High
But
school-
like,
yeah.
were you like, what was like? Were you a fun kid? Were you a popular kid? Were you into sports?
I was sports. I played so much. I was
Like, what'd you play?
Basketball.
Like
Yeah.
my kids.
Yeah, basketball, and then I played baseball too.
Right.
But so that's all I cared about when I was
Right.
a teenager and having sex with black girls. That's
Right.
all I did. That's all I
Same
wanted to
with
do.
me.
Yep, same
Oh
thing.
my God!
It's just-
Except in my town, there were no black people. How
Yeah.
great is that?
A lot of Asians in my town.
Really?
Oh, cool.
Only
cute.
Asians. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up in Hawaii.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's Hawaii. Now
Never
it's,
been there.
now it's under lava. And do you know anyone with the lava?
Yeah. I
You
know
do?
people affected by the lava for sure.
And
Yeah. Everyone's really upset, but they really have no one to blame. They're like, we lived on a volcano.
Yeah.
So they're
right,
just
so
dealing.
they're just. But I mean, I saw the photos. It's like, it's really Mother Earth, like natural disasters they freak me out.
Mm-hmm.
Freak me out so bad that because literally, you can't even fucking explain it.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know how I deal with that, especially like Mother Nature and like school shootings
Yeah.
and shit. It's like I just have accepted that we're all going to die any day.
Right.
It
It's just
makes me
going
feel
to happen.
good.
Right.
I big natural disasters like that makes me feel like, okay, we can't destroy the Earth.
Right.
The Earth
Right.
will take care of itself.
That's
Right.
it. Yeah.
You know,
Right.
if this bacteria continues to fester and grow, the Earth will be okay.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Unless we start to take care of the Earth, and then it will in turn take care of it.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Go ahead.
Great point, Hennessy.
Henny.
So, your mother is sort of an academic, very smart.
Very smart,
Right.
very well educated, and my dad,
Right.
complete dirtbag.
opposite. Okay.
Yeah, just
And-
prisoner.
Right.
Piece of
I
shit.
can't wait to get to that. So
Yeah.
and they divorced when you were how old?
One, just
So
immediately
you
divorced.
never ever remember them together.
Zero memories of them together. But my dad is a great guy and
Right.
was there every weekend. But
Right.
zero memories of them together.
Now, what do you think the attraction was between your what did your mother do for a living?
Right now, she's like an HR manager.
Right.
But she told me what it was. Is when my mom was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
My dad was like 35, or
Right.
he's like way older, and he was like this mafia guy, like
Right.
chains, feel out velour suit. And my mother's
Right.
like very prim, proper.
Right.
Highly educated.
Bad guy.
They were at a walkathon. And my mom was at the walkathon.
What
and my
kind for what?
I think it was like a breast cancer like
Okay.
awareness walkathon in Central Park, and my dad was on the like grass at Central Park making fun of the people in the walkathon.
Right.
Just calling, doing that, and then he
Right.
saw my mom, and started
like,
like walking
hey,
next
yeah.
to her and
And
blah,
joined the
blah.
walkathon.
Yeah, yeah.
Acting like he was walking in the walkathon.
Yeah, acted like, but she was like, I knew what he was up to the whole time.
Right.
Like it was like all bullshit. And then, so she kind of thought that was charming, but she was like, I thought we went on I went on a date with him. I was like, I'm never going to like this guy.
Right.
And then she said, there was something about him. She's like, my family hated him.
Right.
Because he was like, who is this? He's a badass. And then, we got married, and I was like, okay. She wanted to get a divorce actually before she got pregnant with me.
Right.
She was like, I was going to get a divorce. I realized I made a mistake. She's like, and then we had you.
But did you think she got married to piss off her parents?
I think she got married because she genuinely loved my dad.
Right.
But then when you get to know, my dad is a great guy, especially now he's a great guy. But
Right.
he at the time he was a big gambler, getting
Right.
in a lot of trouble.
Right.
So he was gambled her life savings away.
No way.
Yeah, he was was fucking out of his mind. Went to jail. So she was like, I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't want this.
And what are her parents thinking?
Well, see, here's the thing with my mom.
Yeah.
Is my mom is very prim, proper,
Right.
very you speak to my mom and she's like, I don't have any problems. But her dad
Right.
in 1961, which is taboo to even do this,
Right.
her dad walked out on her mom. And
No way.
Left her mom, divorced her mom.
in 1961.
Yeah, my mom was one of 6 kids.
And left her with the fucking 6 kids?
Yes, so my grandma, my maternal grandma, was the talk of the town. This
Right.
guy's husband. What did
Right.
she do?
She do. It's always the woman's fault.
She pushed her husband away, but
Right.
meanwhile he just left because he was having an affair. So that really damaged my mom, I think. And then therefore, when it was time for her
saw
to tell
bad
she
guy.
picked not an
Yeah, bad boy.
asshole because my dad's not an asshole, but she
Right.
picked a guy who she really didn't want to be with.
Right.
Yeah. because she hated her dad so much.
So, did you ever see their wedding pictures?
My mom and dad, I did. Yeah, he has a Missy. He had gotten his tooth knocked out like 2 days before, so he was like this chipped tooth. Yeah, like a fucking idiot.
You should have seen the other guy.
You know. So your parents divorced and your father's in the mob.
Yeah, allegedly he was. Yeah, I don't remember my dad like that. I mean, I remember him being crazy, but like all the crime stuff happened either when I was like an infant or before I was born. Do you remember him being in jail, or he wasn't in jail after I don't remember him being in jail, no, but I do remember him. He's not crazy at all anymore.
Right.
He's very subdued now. He's like 70, I think he's 72.
Right.
But like when I was a kid, like he was out of his mind. Like I saw him, hit people with shit.
No way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he would do, like, I would be on escapades. Like anytime he would take me out, like, for the weekend, like my mother would always be like, Tony, don't do anything fucking stupid with our son.
Right.
So I just thought everybody's dad did stupid shit with their kids because when you're a kid, you just think this is how everyone's dad is.
Normal, yeah.
So I'd be like, oh my, dad, he took me to like I remember every week he would take me to the racetrack and he would just like, just tell your mom I took you to the zoo. So I would just,
and you would
animals.
lie?
Well, I didn't know. I thought that's what the zoo was, a racetrack. So I would be like, we went to the zoo, and then she was like, you're always going to the zoo, honey. What do you keep going to the Bronx Zoo? And I was like, I don't know. It's an aqueduct. And then she was like, oh, is that a racetrack?
Right.
She's like, what are the animals doing? I was like, it's all horses. And then she was like, what do they do? Do they go in a circle? And does daddy yell with tickets and his friends? And I was like, yeah. And then she'd call him and be like, you
fucking piece of shit.
fucking piece of shit, you gambling with our son. And he was like, he's a lucky chub.
Oh, God. That's hilarious.
So like that, and that's when I started. So like when I was about like 10, 11, I realized like I have a kind of an odd family as compared to other people.
Right, because you were going over other kids' houses. And like, wait.
Yeah, wait, nobody else's father does that?
I did some research.
Thanks.
And your father took you to a game, a no-hitter game? Is that...
Okay, so that's another thing that my dad, where I was like, okay, this guy's nuts. We were at Dwight Gooden's no-hitter. So it was in 1996.
Right.
So no-hitter's like extremely rare thing to happen. And we were there, and my dad picked me up for the game.
How old are you? 10?
I was 10.
Okay.
My dad picked me up for the game, and my mom was like, you need to have him back here no later than 10 p.m.
Okay, I'm going to do your mother, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, you need to have him back here no later than 10 p.m., Tony.
Yes. And then he's like,
Thank you.
Yes.
Good job.
Thank you.
And then,
you understand me?
Yeah. And then he's like, all right, Lynn, I'll have him back by 10. And then, so he's like, we're going to be back by 10, all right? Maybe 10:30. Maybe 11.
And I don't mean at 10:01.
Yeah, 10. He's got a science project.
Okay.
So we go to the baseball game. I mean, the game starts at 7:05 p.m. It's in the Bronx. I live in Queens. We're taking the train there. It's not, what are we going to stay for 2 innings?
Right.
So my dad the whole time was like, look, we'll be back when we're back. You don't like. So he's like, just whatever.
And did you look at him like, oh my God, you're the greatest?
I was kind of like indifferent. Like I was like, I love my mom, I love my dad. I don't know why they yell at each other like that. You know?
Yeah.
So I didn't know. And like, she would be like, no soda, because I was like, ADHD nut kid. She was like, no soda, and my dad would just give me a fucking Mountain Dew, like the worst soda. She was just like, he's like, I'm not gonna let your mother dictate my, it's my time. So I was like, okay. So we're in the game. It's like, it's about like 9:30, 9:45, so we're definitely going to be late.
Right.
But it's by that time, it's about like the 6th, 7th inning, and there's Doc Gooden still pitching the no-hitter. So my dad's like, he leaves it up to me, a 10-year-old kid. He's like, what do you want to do?
But this is pre-cell phone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's no way to get in touch. You'd have to call my mom from like a fucking payphone.
Right.
Like, it's not going to happen.
You'd have to walk like a mile to get to the fucking payphone. Yeah.
So my dad's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I'd like to stay. And he's like, we're going to stay. That's where this is your time. We're going to stay. I'm like, all right. I mean, mom said to be home by 10. He's like, I'll deal with your mother. So then now the game's going and going and going, and it's the 8th inning, and now going into the 9th. So it's like, this is, my dad's like, the whole stadium is going nuts. I mean, this is like a historical thing. So we're sitting in the upper deck. So my dad's like, do you want to go down behind home plate? And I was like, yeah. Like, I just thought we could do that. It's pre 9/11. Like, you could just walk around stuff. And he goes, okay. So we're like walking down the stairs, down the escalator to like go behind home plate. I didn't know how tickets worked.
Right.
And he goes, right before we get to security guard, he goes, you're going to have to just do what I tell you to do right now. And I was like, okay. So then he said, just think of something. When I say, I'm going to say something to the security guard, and then we're going to look at you, and you just do what I tell you to do. I was like, okay. So we go to the security guard, and my dad's like, can my son and I sit behind home plate? There's a couple of empty seats. And the security guard says no. And then my dad says, but my son's disabled. And just points at me. And like, he never told me what to do.
Right.
Like he forgot to tell me. He kept telling
Right.
me, just listen to me. And then he forgot to tell me what to
Right.
do. So I didn't do anything. I just like looked, like stared at the guy and then stared at my dad. And the security guard thought just off that look that I was in fact disabled.
Right.
And walked me and my dad to the
No
seats.
way.
I swear to God. And like pet me on the head and let us sit behind
No
home. I swear to
fucking
God.
Look at this kid. He's retarded.
Yeah, and I was
Look
like,
at him.
what? I
You're
just
fucking kidding.
I swear to God, I just looked like a normal. I thought. So then I was having this thing. I was like, do I look? What's wrong with me?
Right.
And then my dad was like, it fucking worked like a charm. And so like we watched the no hitter.
Wait, did the guy stand there like to make sure?
no, he
like,
just-
do you want anything or no?
No, he just put us in the seats and he pet me, like tapped me on the head and pet me. Like he was like, good, whatever.
Right.
I was like, okay. And then we just sat there and I remember the wrestler, Mr. Perfect, was in like a one row in front of us.
Right.
And I was a huge wrestling fan. I mean, I'm 10 years old and I was like, Dad, that's Mr. Perfect. And my dad goes, oh, cool. He goes, let me get your ticket. So he gave me the ticket and he goes, hey, he called him Perfect. He was like, hey, Perfect. He was like, can you sign the ticket, for my son? And Mr. Perfect said no. I remember he just flat out said no.
Right.
And then my dad got like mad at
Right.
Mr. Perfect. I was like, who the fuck do you think you are? Blah, 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 blah. So him and Mr. Perfect start getting into like like a real shouting match where like you could probably see, I don't know if you would be able to see it, maybe.
Right.
But like, because we were
you're behind home
right down
plate.
home plate. So my dad and Mr. Perfect get into like this huge fight and the security guard who walked us to those seats kicked us out. So we didn't get to see the actual last pitch of the no-hitter. We weren't in the stadium because my dad had got us thrown out because he started a fight with Mr. Perfect. But like we still like had a good time like walking out of the stadium and whatever.
Right.
And I didn't get home till 1:30 in the morning. Yeah, and my mom was like literally up, like ready to call the police. Like that's how bad it was. Like she knew what the game was no hitter.
Right.
And she was like, I kind of assumed that you guys stayed.
Right.
But she was like, I hadn't finished my science project. It was 1:30 in the morning. My mom was like, I'm gonna wake you up and we'll finish the science project. And then, I couldn't wake up and then I've just failed. I failed the science project. I got like a 30 or something like that. It was really bad. And my dad, all this crazy shit is, my mom, anytime my dad took me to a Yankee game or any type of game, my mom would allow him to sleep on the couch because he lived on Staten Island. So we'd have
Right.
to take like a train.
That was nice of her.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
a
was.
ferry, a bus. But
Right.
that night she was so fucking pissed.
She was like, get the
get
fuck
the
out
fuck out at 1:30 in the morning. So my dad
And this is pre-Uber and all that
he's
shit.
no way. And my dad didn't, he had to take
Right.
this public transportation back. And my dad got robbed on the train going back
No
home.
way.
Yeah, he got robbed for like everything he had. The tickets, he had held on to the tickets too because he's like, I'm going to frame these. Like this is a big thing. And they stole his wallet.
No
and
way.
I swear, yeah, stole everything. Stole his chain, and he got like his ass kicked.
Wow.
Yeah, like 3 o'clock in the morning. And my mom was like, good. Like my mom didn't even care.
Good. You deserve it.
That's what happens.
Yeah. You
Mr.
liar. You
Mr.
fucking
Perfect
liar.
was happy too.
Yeah.
Wow, what a great story.
Yeah, that was fucking nuts. That was a crazy night.
I heard there was another story where he threw you on the field.
Threw me on the field?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he threw me when I was at also then it was what game was it at? It was Yankees Oakland A's 97 or 98. I can't forget 97 or 98, and we were sitting right on the third base side. Like right there was like where foul territory is, like like where you can just jump onto the field. And my dad, the Yankees had won, and my dad just like placed me on the dirt and was like, just go run.
No way.
Yeah, because he just wanted to like.
Right.
He was just like, I want my son to be on the field, and because I was a little kid, like they
Right.
knew that was going to happen. They just thought I did it. So like I ran on the field, and then my dad staged like to run after me because he just wanted to go on the field. So like we didn't get
Nice.
thrown out, nothing, and it was just like this story.
Oh, it was like, look at that little
Look
kid.
at this little kid run, and then like so it was like
And then he set up the whole fucking
my dad
thing.
set up the whole thing.
He's brilliant.
So it's like that's the story of my dad though, where like he would do like very kind of unorthodox things,
Right.
but they were always like for my benefit. Like he did
Like he wanted you to be happy.
he wanted me to touch Yankee Stadium field. He
Right.
wanted me to be behind home plate.
Right.
So like a normal parent, would just buy a seat behind home
Right.
plate, or just say, you know what, I want you to go behind home plate, or I want you to touch the field, but that's not possible now, so let's just be happy we're in this moment.
Right,
but my
right.
dad's not like that. He's like, no, I want you to do whatever like if he has a thought, he's like, I want it to come true for you. So he's like, I'm going to get you behind home plate. The only way I can do that, though, is to make believe you have special needs. I'm going to get you on Yankee Stadium field. The only way I can do that is if we have to stage like
Right.
you're like a fucking kidnapping.
Right.
You know, like that's just what it is. So it's like the kind of end result that his motive is positive, but his methods are negative.
Right. So I have this issue too
sounds
because I don't follow any rules. Like I am not a rule follower. And the kids have seen me get, like just no, we don't have to stand on that line. No, there's another way to get blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
I love
And Elisa, my girlfriend, is like, Judy, what are you doing? Everyone, and it's like, just shut the fuck up.
Right.
And Henry is like so me in that regard.
Right.
But to the point where it's like, all right, Henry, enough.
Right.
And Ben is sort of opposed to it. Like, mommy, just don't worry about it. Everyone else is,
Right.
And I don't know. It's just I feel like, am I doing a disservice to them by saying, I'm gonna have my knee hurts, so we're getting on the plane first.
Yeah. Well, see, the way I look at that is like life is so like, people say like life is short and like all these passing moments.
Right.
Like if your knee hurts, you get on the plane first. So for 5 minutes, people are going to be pissed off.
Right.
Then 10 minutes into the flight, there's going to be turbulence and people,
Right.
the pilot's going to say,
Right,
put the
right,
seatbelts
right.
on. Everyone forgets about you and doesn't
But it's
give a
also
shit.
like if you really paid attention in life,
Mm-hmm.
you would realize that there are easier ways or shortcuts or. Like I often think, why are you all standing here like a herd of cattle?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, in a way, and maybe I hope I don't mean it because like it's the job that like we chose, but like
Right.
our like people who are like they hate what they do and they're like, oh, the grind of the 9 to 5,
Right.
I got to get on a shitty train. It's like, well, your brain is on autopilot.
Right.
Like, why are you doing that? Like my mom would say she just retired and she's like, I'm so happy. I should have retired years ago. And I'm like,
Right.
well, why didn't you?
Right.
You understand? Like your mind just
because you're programmed.
some these societal norms that you put yourself in. It's
Right.
like you and I don't do that, which is
Right.
like, and I know that there's
Right.
there's
Even my
problems with
wife
our
is a rule breaker.
Yeah, it's
like what
which
I do
is-
for a living.
which
Yeah.
is great. It's great. I mean, and there's problems with it. Like sometimes we don't know where the next gig is coming, and that's
Sometimes try having a vagina over 50.
Woo. Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's like, I now am at the age where I'm at the beginning of the age where friends who were older than me are retiring,
Right.
And like I was talking to my sister-in-law and she was like, she was talking about these friends of theirs and she's like, oh, they're going to have to work forever because they
Right.
didn't save their money and blah, blah,
Right.
blah. And they're not going to be able to, and I'm thinking, I'm never going to be able to retire.
Right.
I mean, unless I get some fucking,
Right.
TV show that goes into syndication, like,
Which could happen, very well happen.
oh my God, I love
Absolutely. Yeah, it can happen.
Absolutely.
And
I
all
think
of these people who are like, oh, you're aged out or whatever the fuck they've said, they're not even working in that position anymore. And this industry changes so much.
No, I know, but it is
Yeah.
like, it's so fucked and
You're still considered a legend in
a legend.
My mom, I told my mom I was doing your podcast today, and she was like, I think she saw you on The View or some show, and she was like, tell her I love what she said, the thing about your mom with her life with AIDS.
That's one of my favorite jokes.
Yeah, your mom.
I love you, Lynn.
My mom loved it. Lynn Distefano, shout out.
Lynn. So your mother is like a church-going woman,
Oh
right?
my God, church 7 days a week, very Catholic.
Oh, I grew up next to Catholics like that.
Yes.
They're and I actually would just live in their house. But
Yeah.
they'd go to mass every day.
Yep.
And then, but she's a drinker. I heard.
She drinks. Yeah. Well, she drinks. The drinking has calmed down a little bit. When she was like,
when she was working, probably.
When she was working a lot, it was. Here's how I knew when my mom was going through a problem with one of her boyfriends. When I would be coming up the stairs from basketball practice, like 7, 8 o'clock at night in high school, and I would see like 2 polished off bottles of Sutter Home White Zinfandel.
Oh, Sutter Home. I remember Sutter Home.
I knew most likely my mom was going to be sitting on the floor,
Right.
with the telephone cord wrapped around her body, talking to her friend Barbara, and then she was going to hang up the phone when I got home, pop in a lean cuisine macaroni and cheese, and talk to me about guy shit. And I was like 16 years old, exhausted from basketball practice. The last thing I want to do is talk to my drunk
mother,
40-year-old mother about how she can't get dick. You know, it's like I don't want to hear it. Yeah, but that was my life.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But you know, I can't say this because the kids will get mad. Anyway, but I do ask. I talk to the kids about.
Sorry,
what?
So some people are watching live, and ADF Photography says Judy's dress looks nice.
Thank you. It's called my workout fucking shirt.
My MRI look.
It's from my MRI on the knee. So, did your mother have a lot of boyfriends? Like, did you have guys in and out?
Well, no. She had like I would say 3 or 4 like long-term relationships. I hated them all.
You did? You didn't bond with any of them?
I didn't bond with any of them, but I was like kind of like being like that young teenage dick. But then my mom's most recent boyfriend, she's been single now about 3 or 4 years. I liked him because I was like in my late 20s by then. I just wanted her to be happy. I was out of the house. I didn't want her to be alone.
But did you? So you never got close to them, and then they left?
Yeah, no, I never. I kind of one I got somewhat close to, but then he like dumped my mom, and it was like bitter.
Fuck him.
Yeah, fucking asshole. One time my mom got dumped when I was a teenager, and my dad. But the guy dumped my mom and then started dating a woman who lived right across the street.
Oh, fuck.
Fucking asshole. So my mom used to like sit looking out the window, like upset
with
about.
With her Sutter home.
Yeah, with her Sutter home, just pounding it, looking out the window. And it was like tragic to see that. Like she was in such a deep depression. And one time my dad came over to pick me up and he was like, "What's wrong with your mother?" And I was like, "Oh, her boyfriend dumped her and dating a guy across the street." He goes, "Oh, really? What house?" And then I was like, yeah, I swear. And then I was like, I told him. And then he was like, all right, I'm going to go get coffee and bagels. I'll be back in 20 minutes. Don't come outside. And I was like, that's what he said. And I was like, okay.
I love your father.
I swear. And then I really wasn't thinking anything. I guess I was a naive teenager. I wasn't thinking. And then I was playing video games in my room. And I hear my mother screaming out the window, "Tony, stop it, you fucking psycho. Stop it." And my dad was like beating the piss out of this guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And something like to the effect of like, don't ever, don't, you broke her heart. Like, how fucking stupid are you? And he was like, like really like tried to like send him a message. And apparently like that, they broke up, like, or like the guy, she moved, something like that. Like the people called the police. Like it was a big thing. But my dad like didn't go to get in trouble. I mean, he got in trouble, but he was like yelled at by the police. But like nothing seemed to ever happen to my dad.
But did you ever? So he's like Teflon Don.
In a way, yeah.
Did you think? I mean, a kid might learn something. Like they're not together, but yet he's like, "Don't you fuck with my ex or my kid's mom?" Or
exactly. So like that.
So you learned. I mean, there's something positive that came out of that.
Well, that's the thing with my dad. It like always is in the same vein of things. It's like his methods are negative, but the message is positive. What he was saying is like protect your mom. Because he was like, "You should have been the one to do this," and I was like, "Me? I'm not fucking. I'm not violent. I'm 15 years old. What are you talking
I'm not
about?
Getting in a fight.
I'm not beating up. I can't beat up a grown man, And then, but my dad, so he was like, he told. I remember we went and got pizza then that afternoon, and he was like, your mom, like, he was like, "I'm sorry that it got violent." He's like, "But you can't." If your mother's upset about anything, you're the man in the house. You need to find out what's wrong. You said you were just walking. You weren't comforting her. And by then my parents had been divorced 15 years.
Right.
So he was like, this is the job. You have to protect your mom because I'm not here anymore. So you have to protect your mom.
What is this man in the house? Like I feel bad for my kids because they have 800 mothers and and I think part of Henry, my older son, is really like the bad boy. And I think a lot of that is like, I got to prove my masculinity kind of thing.
Right.
But I think it's damaging to say you're the man.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Well, I think, like my dad's the kind of guy, he's one of those people like we have to like leave behind with like the new way of thinking. Like he's not going to he doesn't understand it.
Right.
He's just not like, he's very comfortable like saying homo and so he's just like, forget about him. But yes, my thought on, raising my daughter now is different. My mind is more like, I definitely still have some thoughts about like someone PC shit goes too far. But yeah, as far as like man of the house thing, with my daughter, I'll be like, like you just, as human beings, we'll just like, you got to protect this house and protect what's ours.
Right.
But as far as like that gender role shit, I think it's a little like, outdated now,
Right.
and like people are like, oh, you know, you got your little daughter. Like, what are you gonna do when her first fucking boyfriend comes home? I'm like, I don't know. Just talk to her about safe sex. Like,
Yeah,
what?
I know. Shut the fuck
What
up.
am I? If I talk to her, if I say
Yeah.
don't, you better not even put your hands on him. She's gonna
Right.
suck his dick like
Right.
Immediately in
Right.
a parking lot,
Right.
and he's gonna treat her like shit. So it's like I need to just be like, this is practice. Just be safe.
Yeah.
Just be safe about it.
Right. See, this is
Yeah.
the shit I totally am on board. So I have a friend who the kid just got caught with a bag of pot, right?
Your boy did or his friend?
No, a friend's kid.
Oh, okay.
I've already dealt with this shit with my kids.
Yeah.
And I said, look, and it's freaking out. I want him out of this school, and
Right.
I'm gonna move this. I'm gonna do,
Jesus
and like
Christ.
all this wrong kids hanging out with the wrong kids. And I said, look, they're gonna smoke pot. You smoked pot.
Yeah.
They're gonna smoke pot.
Right.
You need to teach them the correct way to smoke pot.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
It'll take the stigma away, and like that. Oh, I talked to the kids. I said, don't smoke outside. Do not have bags of pot on you.
I love
Right.
the way you handled weed with your kids.
Well, I just told them how to. I know you're going to do this.
You were
Be
just
smart
honest.
about it.
Yeah, you were honest with them about
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you didn't lie to them that it was going to like turn their brains into eggs
Right.
and make them,
I
No,
do.
that's ridiculous.
I do with the other things Henry tells me about. I'm like, Henry, don't fucking with that.
Right.
He loves the drugs, and I was like, just. I'm going to stop when I'm 24. I'm like, what's that fucking
24.
random number?
Yeah.
24.
You just don't stick anything up your nose.
Yeah. Please. But I did. That's what and there's so many of these people that are just like parents. I mean, I used to get shit
Right.
because I would let the kids watch South Park when they were really young.
Yeah, which is fine.
And can you please not? I mean, my kid's son's coming over, and it's fuck you.
Fuck you. Yeah.
It's like I want them to laugh. I want
Yeah.
them to know what funny is. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, ugh.
I
But I love that about you. I
Well,
love that, and
yeah.
that's because you were raised by a woman.
raised by a woman. I know, and forget it. My kid's mom, she's like like a Puerto Rican girl from Sunset Park, Brooklyn. She takes no shit. We were living in this like really nice.
That's like your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like the
Yeah.
the female version of my dad. We were talking. We were living in this like really nice building in Park Slope, which is
Right.
like trendy,
Yeah,
fucking
I
cool
know.
parents. And my daughter was one. She was like maybe like 15 months old,
Right.
something like that. And we were in the elevator. It was me, Jasmine, my daughter, and then a woman got in the elevator with her like 5-year-old kid, and my daughter had a pacifier in, and the woman like passive aggressively like to her child was like,
Oh, I hate that.
She was like, you see, she's like, that baby shouldn't have a pacifier, right? Like she shouldn't have a pacifier, and Jasmine.
Another Puerto
Oh my
Rican
God.
chick.
Oh my God! So Jasmine. I thought like Jasmine. I knew Jasmine was going to say something,
Right.
But I thought, wait to get off the elevator, say
Right,
something.
right.
Jasmine hits the emergency brake on the elevator.
she does.
Just hits the stop. She goes, "What the fuck did you say, bitch?" And then, and then I was like, "Oh my God, oh my!" Even I like started backing into the corner.
Right.
This woman I thought was going to shit herself.
Right.
And she was like, "You're going to use that kind of language in front of these children?" And she was like, I want your daughter to know and my daughter to hear that people like you are stupid fucking people." And she was like, "You need to talk to your daughter about not being a passive-aggressive bitch." She's like, "That's what I think the bigger problem is than language here." Oh my God, she's like, "Do you want your daughter to be like that? This little passive-aggressive
Right.
little miss thing like that?" She's like,
Right.
"So what? My daughter has a pacifier." She's like, "How do you know my daughter doesn't have gum cancer? And she needs the pacifier." She's like, "You know what you teach your daughter?" Then Jasmine like
Right.
crashed out. She's like, "You know what you need to do, sweetie? Is tell your mommy to mind her business." She was like, "That's what would be the best. Is both of you mind your
Yeah.
business." Then she hit the emergency exit, the emergency brake, and the elevator came down. And this woman was shocked, stayed on the elevator, and we like got off. And I was like, "Jasmine, you can't do that shit."
Right.
I mean, I get your point, but you can't fucking be like ghetto like that. We're in Park
Right.
Slope.
Oh
and she's like, "Then take me back to the ghetto."
Beautiful. I love her.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah,
Huge
Yo,
fan.
yeah, and
That's
she's like
fucking
real,
great.
like,
Good
and
for her.
she's
Yeah.
fucking beautiful. Like, she's like such like a gorgeous, like stunningly beautiful Puerto Rican girl. And then she has a tattoo on her tit, and that's the part I love the most. I was like, that's
Right.
it. That's that fucking Puerto Rican shit I like. A
And
tit tat.
what does she do for a living?
Is it a Puerto Rican flag?
It's a butterfly. She's like, I got a butterfly over my heart for my mother, but then I got my tits done, and now I just have a butterfly tattoo on my tit. You know, that's the truth.
That's great.
She is like a personal trainer.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
So
and
she
like
has a really good body.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's been here. Wait, let me.
Wait, where'd you meet her?
I met her at a bar in Coney Island, Brooklyn. Real fucking New York trash way to meet someone.
Yeah.
And she was like dancing, and I was just like, I'm fucking in love with this girl. And then she
Right.
got pregnant on the second date. So I had a really kind of crazy
Wow.
life.
Second date?
Second date, fucking pregged up. Yeah.
And then she was like, I'm having this baby.
Yeah, she was like, I'm having this baby. And then she was like, we're going to make this shit work. And, you know, we've kind of like had a rocky relationship, but I mean, she's my baby mama. But, I mean, you see, like, she's like just a smoke show of a woman.
Oh my God, she is hot.
Yeah. I don't know why it's not going forward.
Can you do it?
Yeah, I'll get another picture
Oh my
you can
God,
zoom in on.
she's hot.
She's really hot.
Oh, I might have to follow her on.
Follow her.
Wow. Oh my God, she's fucking
Your
hot.
kid is adorable too. I'm on your
thank you.
Instagram.
We haven't even gotten to that part of his life yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my kid's birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday to
Delilah.
You have this crazy fucking childhood with your
Right.
crazy fucking father. Then you go. Wait, I have it written down here.
Yeah.
You go. Oh, you got a bachelor's degree in psychology from St. Joseph's College.
Yeah, in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Now, did you want to not leave your mom?
Well, what happened is I was going to go away to school. I was going to
Where
go
are you
to
gonna go?
Stony Brook.
Oh,
so
very
like
nice.
so like not
Yeah.
super far, but like
But,
you know, I would have dormed
yeah.
Suffolk County, Long Island, and then in my senior year of high school, September 11th happened. And so my mom, she survived, of course, but she worked in the second tower that
No
was hit.
way.
So yeah, so we didn't see. There was no communication with her for like 14 hours. So I just thought she was dead for 14 hours. So I developed like this anxiety condition that like kind of opened up Pandora's box, and I
Right.
just wasn't like mentally healthy. I couldn't like
Right.
really do anything, like be out of like let her out of my sight. I like regressed to like a 5-year-old. It was very
Right, because you had
crazy.
14 hours of thinking your mother's dead.
Right. So it really like, you know, most kids were able to like snap back and like
Right.
have that anxiety, and then they find their mother's okay and it's okay. But for me, it just stayed. I had to go to therapy, medication,
Right.
all that shit. So I really didn't start to get over that until like my sophomore year of college. But by then I already had my friends. I was on the basketball
Right.
team. I was like, I don't want to leave. I want to stay home. So yeah.
Is
so
that D3?
it was
D3.
Division 3 basketball, baby.
Wow, you got to play with my son.
I would love to play. Where does he? Does he play first high school?
In high school, yeah.
Is he going to go to college to play?
Yeah, he's going to boarding school for 2 years.
Sweet.
And he's already been recruited.
Fucking great. What division 1, 2, 3?
Ivy 1, Division 1 Ivy.
Beautiful.
And some Division 2s and 3s.
He's tall, right?
Yeah, he's 6'7".
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Division 1 Ivy would be perfect.
I know, right?
What, like a Brown or something like that?
Yeah, Columbia, Brown. He
Brown.
doesn't want to go to Columbia because it's too close, but he's going there.
Better go to Columbia, you fuck.
Fucking asshole.
Come on.
Motherfucker.
Do all the coke you want.
He's going to the Yale camp this weekend.
Oh, Yale
yeah.
camp.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
So-
the other one.
Yeah. So you lived at home.
I lived at home. My mom's rule was as long as you're going to school, like whether some kind of college, you can live here for free. Yeah, so I went all the way through graduate school. I didn't leave home until I was like 26.
So why did you major in psychology?
Well, I majored in psychology at first because I wanted to be a psychologist.
No way. And listen to other people's problems?
Listen to other people's problems. That's what I wanted to do. And then I wanted to be a history teacher. And then
I love that.
I'm an asshole. And then I wanted to be in my senior year of college. I was already down the road. I had already finished all my requirements for my psych degree. I was like, I want to be a physical therapist. That was like my new
Now,
yeah.
what got you into the physical therapy?
So
because you're an athlete.
I was an athlete, so I would always be like, you know, in and out of physical therapy, sprained
Right.
ankles, wrists, all
Right.
that shit. So I was like, I like this job, but I want to be a pediatric physical therapist specifically. So I wound up doing that because I was like, you know, the people, I liked working with adults, but it's like, you know, then you also have that fucking.
You know what? I
Yeah.
did the exercises. I did twice a day. I had to ice. I'm not better.
Where you just want to fucking
And there's because I go to physical therapy all the time because of my knees and stuff. And it's like, there's a lot of elderly people in there.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of like, you know, you have to be really nice.
It's too nice.
And it's like they're irritable.
I hate
because
it.
I know Have you ever had chronic pain?
Not as chronic as like you've had.
Okay,
had, like,
so
chronic
I've
pain,
had 2 weeks now where I just start crying. I'm off balance.
Yeah.
Like, because it's always on your mind. It's always in the back.
Of course.
Like, it's right there. Like, okay, just breathe, blah, blah, blah. And then if someone comes and, like, walks in front of you and you're like, oh, fuck, I'm going to fall, you know, like.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so off-putting. I can't,
Right.
and I've been up all night.
Yeah.
Every night I wake up at 4, like with shooting pains up my right. Anyway, so then you go to New York Institute of Technology.
Yeah.
For your to go become
Yeah.
a PT and you become a doctor of physical therapy.
Yeah, get a doctor in physical therapy.
My God,
I
you're
did
so
that.
smart and hot and funny.
And then my 3rd year of school, I was like, I want to be a comedian. So
Like, how did that come out of nowhere? Were you a comedy fan?
I loved comedy, yeah, but I just couldn't, it was kind of, it's still like a psychosis that I have where, like, I just
Right.
can't sit still. Like, now it's like,
Same.
I do
Yeah.
stand-up, and, like, I love stand-up, but I'm like, oh, maybe I should do something else now.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck? I got to stay with something.
Right.
So
Yeah, but you're really good at it.
Oh, thanks. I try. I mean, I stand up now. I can't leave now. I've put the eggs in the stand up basket.
Right.
Like, and now I have a kid. So
And
now
how
it's like,
how many years have you been doing
I
it?
started comedy. I started first open mic ever 2009.
Right.
And then like professionally, with it's just my only income since 2013.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah,
You're
it's-
only 5 years in.
Like 5 years in professionally. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I 2009. I like started doing. I was like, I'm fucking going all in with this shit.
Right.
But then I was a pediatric physical therapist, and then in 2013 I started like missing a lot of days at work
Right.
to do like radio stuff or to
Right.
like take a gig to like open up for fucking
Right.
some the Reverend Bob Levy in
Right.
Maine or something,
Right.
and like miss a day of work, because those are the gigs to be had, and that's
Right.
what it was. And so like this one therapist, because pediatric physical therapy is a pretty much like female dominated
Right.
career. So I was like one of the only male therapists
Right.
in like the whole district of the schools, but there was one other male therapist who fucking hated me.
Why? Because he was jealous?
I don't know. He just didn't fucking like
Fuck
me.
him.
He was a
He's
fucking,
an
yeah,
asshole.
fucking Filipino
piece of
fuck.
shit. Fucking-
Oh, the
Yeah.
fucking Filipinos are
Yeah.
the worst.
Filipino motherfucker.
Go ahead.
And he hated me, so I was on the radio. I called out sick, and I was on the radio, and he would like listen.
told on you?
He fucking told the principal, and in the New York
What a dildo.
fucking dildo fuck. And then in the DOE, in the Department of Ed in New York, if you do that, if you call out sick and they find out you're not sick, they call it theft of service, and they prosecute, like they go to the NYPD.
No fucking
as if
way.
you stole money from the school.
Right.
So I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm just home one day. I think we had like a day off or something
Right.
like that. I'm home one day the next week, and 2 legit police officers.
way.
I swear to God, they knock on my door, and they're like a division.
Distefano?
Yeah, they were like, "What's up?" They were like, "Are you Chris Distefano?" I was like, "Yeah." And they're like,
Oh, Distefano.
No,
Sorry.
it's all right. And they were like, "How come your address is this?
Distefano.
Is in
Yeah.
Ridgewood, but you're living in Park Slope?" Because I was living with my girlfriend. They're like, "You trying to elude us?" I was like, "I'm not trying to elude anyone." I was like, am I under arrest? Like, what's going on?
Right.
They're like, "Let us come in." And I was like, okay. So I just let
Are
them
you now at this point? Are you fucking freaking out?
freaking out.
Okay.
So I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, were you on the radio this date? And I'm like, oh, yes, I was. And they're like,
Yeah.
well, do you understand like that you violated I'm
Right.
like, yeah. And they're like, then they noticed I had just done the David Letterman show like 2
Right.
days before that,
Right.
2 weeks before that, I'm sorry, and I had the cue cards. My
Oh,
stepmom
God.
had framed the cue cards, and they were like, what's this? And I was like, I was like, I was like, I'm a comedian. I did the David Letterman show 2 weeks ago. And they were like, I fucking love David Letterman. And they were like, do you have it? And I was like, yeah. And then I put it on. They were like laughing,
Right.
having a good time. And they were like, you know what? They were like, what do you want to do? Do you want to do comedy? Do you want to still do physical therapy? I was like, well, to be honest, I'd like to do comedy. They're like, you know what you do? They're like, go into work on Monday. They were like, and just resign. Just resign.
Right.
Because they were like, if you decide to stay on it, they were like, we're not supposed to tell you, it's just off the record, like
Right.
that. They're being like cops. They're like, if you stay and you go back into work on Monday and you punch your time card, they're going to fire you. It was like, we know that
Right.
they're going to fire you. We said, we've already been told they're going to fire you, and then you're going to lose you're going to lose your pension.
Right, right.
It's going to be tarnished. But if you resign, he
Right.
said, in this case, legally, we just dump it out.
Right.
It's water under the bridge. We don't, we only deal with people who have been fired, and you technically haven't been fired yet. So go resign. Go in Monday morning, 7 a.m. before the kids get there, and go resign. And this will be your best bet. So I went and I resigned. And it was crazy because when I resigned, you know, I felt like I had to. And I had like $130 in my bank account because you don't make any money being physical. I made like $50,000 a year, but then these taxes, I would put money away from my pension. Like I was paying rent. Like I was just making no money. And so I told my dad, I was like, you know, I don't want to tell mom. He was like, you can live. My dad was like, you can live in my basement. Like, just if you're gonna go, you know, full on comedy, then do it now.
Right.
So I was like, okay.
How old are you at this point?
I was 25.
Okay.
So my mom, so I didn't tell my mom for like 2 weeks, and then in the interim of those 2 weeks, I had gotten on the show Guy Code, which was on MTV, which was like it became like a huge show for high school and college kids, like huge, and
Stuckey and Murray.
Yeah, Stuckey and Murray. They were the Stuckey was the showrunner.
Yeah,
Andy
he
Stuckey,
was a
great guy, and they. So in the interim of those 2 weeks, MTV found out that I had quit my job because they had known me already as a physical therapist, comedian, whatever. They found out I quit my job, and they were like, "We want to give me an overall deal." So they signed me like to a 3-year deal that like doubled my physical therapy salary. So for those 2 weeks, I dealt with just the $130, and my dad basically, you know, giving me peanut butter sandwiches. But then MTV like saved me financially. And so far, I haven't I've been doing comedy professionally since then. But, you know, now it's like for the first time in my career, it's like I'm like 5 years into it doing it professionally. And like I had like some good stuff happen. And now for like the last 6 months, it's been like that. Oh, shit, when's this next gig going to come?
Okay, that is the end of part 1.
And everything was wonderful. I'll see you soon. Thank you for the visit. So long.